Hey everyone, it's Bella, and today's video is going to be all about cruelty-free makeup, and it is raining quite heavily outside, so if there's background noise, you know why. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to find out if a brand is cruelty-free, how to go cruelty-free with your makeup, just basically everything you need to know about cruelty-free makeup is right here in this video. But if you guys would like a full video on cruelty-free dupes, then please let me know and leave a comment down below telling me one of your favorite products which is not cruelty-free, so that in my dupe video I can show you a cruelty-free dupe of that product. For instance, MAC, if you like the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, there is a cruelty-free dupe for it. There is the Urban Decay Primer Potion, which is cruelty-free, and they are pretty much like the same thing. Same with the NYX Dewy Setting Spray. It is a wonderful dupe for the MAC Fix Plus. They are honestly like the same thing. If not, the NYX one is better. I'm going to start off by explaining what cruelty-free means. So basically a brand is cruelty-free if they do not test any of their products on animals anywhere in the world. A lot of the time I get comments saying that a brand is cruelty-free in England because in England you aren't allowed to test products on animals. You aren't allowed to do animal testing at all, which is wonderful. I can't wait till Australia implements that this year in July. But anyway, I get a lot of people saying that, you know, animal testing isn't allowed in the UK, so MAC is cruelty-free in the UK. Like, no, MAC is not cruelty-free because they sell in China, which means they test their products on animals in China, which means that company as a whole is not cruelty-free because they do test their products somewhere in the world, if that makes sense. Another big thing is that any company that sells in China is not cruelty-free because it is required by law to test cosmetics on animals in China. So any company that does sell in China sells there knowing that their products are going to have to be tested on animals to be able to sell in that country, because the law is just so backwards there, and I wish that there was something that I could do to change it, but unfortunately there's not. So what I'm doing is I'm just not using any products that come from those companies, and hopefully, you know, eventually there will be enough people doing this to make a change and companies will realize that they're losing money by selling in China. I don't know, but whatever it is, I do not want to contribute to the torture of an animal. I don't want to get into too much detail about what animal testing involves because it is pretty gruesome. You guys can feel free to look it up yourself. There's a lot of things like, for instance, the 50-50 test and all of that. There's so many horrible tests. I had to do a project on it in SOR. Well, I didn't have to, but that was my choice of my topic choice for my presentation was to do a presentation to the class all about animal testing, and it is really just so heartbreaking what happens to these animals. I know PETA isn't a great source, but they do have a lot of great videos which shows you what happens in animal testing, but they do have good informative videos that show you about animal testing. I don't really trust them. They have a list of cruelty-free companies. You can go and search cruelty-free companies there, but once again I wouldn't recommend it because they do have some companies on there that are not cruelty-free, and they also have companies on there, they also are missing companies that are cruelty-free which are not on that list. So I just would steer clear of PETA unless you're looking at it for an informative video about what goes behind the scenes to animal testing, and honestly it is so horrible. I feel like once you've seen what happens and once you're educated on what happens to these animals, you 100% would not want to be a part of it. Also, I just want to mention before I forget, I am not at all trying to force anyone to be cruelty-free. That is not what this is about. Anyway, in my personal opinion, I just don't, for me, think it is worth the torture and end of a poor animal's life in order for me to make my brows a little bit thicker or my eyelashes a little bit longer, especially considering there are so many brands out there that are cruelty-free. So I don't need to use MAC to make my eyelashes longer when I can just use Urban Decay. I love animals so much, and I really don't think that it is okay to be testing cosmetics on them, especially considering what they go through. I think there's been enough testing done by now that we know what products work on humans, what products are bad on humans. We don't need to keep testing them on animals to know these things. And considering the rest of the world doesn't test on animals besides China, I think it's pretty apparent that we don't need it anymore, because we're doing just fine here in Australia without it. All these cruelty-free companies are doing just fine without animal testing. Tarte is cruelty-free, they're doing just fine, they're not harming anyone, none of their products are dangerous, and they don't test any of their products on animals to find that out. Okay, so now on to how to find out if a brand is cruelty-free or not. First of all, there are two really great websites, which are Logical Harmony and Cruelty Free Kitty, and they are amazing. They update really frequently, they really do their research, they email companies, check out the company's websites, they go the whole 9 yards to find out whether these companies are cruelty-free or not, and then they will add them to a list that they both have. They're two different websites. You just Google Cruelty-Free Kitty and it will come up, and you Google Logical Harmony and that will also come up, and they have long lists of things that are cruelty-free and things that are not cruelty-free. Sometimes there are recent changes that they haven't caught up on. For instance, Laura Mercier, I had to do a little bit of research on that myself. They went cruelty-free last year, so a lot of people haven't been updated yet that they are cruelty-free because it's such a recent change. And the same with Smashbox. Smashbox is a little bit of a fine line, because they do state that they test where required by law. However, they don't sell in China, so they don't test on animals anywhere in the world, but their FAQ still says that they test where required by law, which is just weird. Anyway, before I go to Logical Harmony or Cruelty Free Kitty, what I will do is I will go to the website of the... So I'll go to the website of the brand itself, so I'll type in Makeup Geek Cruelty Free. So most of the time the website will have a question in the FAQ stating whether or not they are cruelty-free. If they're a little bit shady and they don't mention animal testing or being cruelty-free or anything like that, that's when you head over to Logical Harmony and Cruelty Free Kitty to see what they've said about it, because a lot of the time they will email the brand themselves and see what the brand replies. So Makeup Geek, for instance, is a cruelty-free brand. They will say, Makeup Geek is proud to be a cruelty-free brand. We are committed to providing high-quality cosmetics that are animal-friendly. You can trust that our labs, manufacturers, and ingredient suppliers do not test on animals. We have begun to discuss cruelty-free certification with PETA. Transparency is important to us. We want you to know that all Makeup Geek products are cruelty-free and most Makeup Geek products are vegan. So that means that the brand is cruelty-free. Show you an example of a brand that is not cruelty-free. So this is L'Oreal's FAQ. So L'Oreal states on their FAQ, L'Oreal no longer tests on animals any of its products or any of its ingredients anywhere in the world, nor does L'Oreal delegate this task to others. So from reading that, you would be like, cruelty-free? No, because the next sentence in the same paragraph says, an exception could only be made if regulatory authorities demanded it for safety or regulatory purposes. So that means that they are not cruelty-free. If they say anything such as there is an exception, and if they say there is an exception, they're not cruelty-free. If there's an exception where regulatory purposes demand it for safety purposes, or there is an exception for countries that require animal testing by law, that means they are not cruelty-free. It means they sell in China and they have to test their products on animals legally to be able to sell there. I hope I didn't make that too complicated. Basically, you just go into their FAQ. If their FAQ says, no, we do not test, that means they do not. If their FAQ says, no, we do not test, but an exception could be made, blah, 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 that means they do test. If they sell in China, that means they do test. So yeah, and if they don't have anything animal testing related in their FAQ, they're shady, and you should go and check Logical Harmony and Cruelty Free Kitty. Now that that's out of the way, I want to let you guys know that there are so many incredible brands that are cruelty free. I remember when I went cruelty free, I was separating all of my makeup, my cruelty-free makeup and my non-cruelty-free makeup, and God, take a shot every time I say cruelty-free, but I mean, I guess it's to be expected in a video like this. Anyway, when I was separating mine, about 10% of my makeup was not cruelty-free, which is insane to me. I swear most companies are cruelty-free nowadays, but I was mind blown. That's why I put it off for so long, like actually going out and separating it, because I was just scared that I wouldn't have any makeup left. But oh my goodness, only 10% of my makeup was not cruelty free. It was insane and I was so happy about it. But I was so pleasantly surprised. The only reason I didn't do it sooner is because I was scared that I wouldn't have enough products to use on camera. Because I couldn't afford to just go out and buy another foundation. If all of my products were not animal cruelty free, I didn't have the money to just go and buy a new one to use on camera. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's the same for a lot of you guys out there as well. You can't just stop using it and chuck a foundation out because you don't have the money to go and buy a new one. And you do not have to go and chuck it out. I didn't chuck out any of my cruelty-free makeup because that is just a waste of money. It's a waste of an animal's life. I used up all of my non-cruelty-free makeup off camera, and then I just replaced it with cruelty-free options, which is what you guys can do. So don't get rid of anything. If you're gonna go cruelty-free, don't wait until you can have the money to chuck everything out. Use it up, and then when you have to replace it, just replace it with a cruelty-free option. Anyway, so now that that's out of the way, the products that are cruelty-free, oh my goodness, the brands, there are so many brands that are cruelty-free. I'm obviously not going to mention all of them in this video because there are so many. I will link Logical Harmony and Cruelty-Free Cutie down in the description bar so that you guys can look it up for yourself and see how many there are. So I'm just going to tell you guys a few of the cruelty-free skincare brands first, because that's what I had the hardest time looking into, was finding cruelty-free skincare to use. But there are so many you guys wouldn't even believe. So I have some products here from some of these brands, so I'll just show you so that you guys can get an idea and actually know what brand I'm talking about. But Josie Maran, or Josie Maran, I still don't know how to say it, is a cruelty-free brand with lots of skincare. Also, Ren Skincare is cruelty-free. Skin Iceland, which is where I get my laugh line patches, my under eye patches. Tarte is cruelty-free and they have great under eye patches as well. This place has really awesome skincare. Kate Somerville, which is my favorite skincare brand in the entire world. Sunday Riley is also cruelty-free. Eve Lom, I don't have anything here from Eve Lom, but I use the sheet masks from them. They're also cruelty-free. Sukin is also cruelty-free, and Lush, don't forget Lush. Lush has incredible skincare and it's all super good for your skin. You don't, Bo just bumped the camera. You don't have to be worried about any nasty chemicals being in anything from Lush, and Lush is super against animal testing. They are an amazing company. And that's not even all of them. I'm sure there's so many more that I just am not listing off the top of my head, but let me just name a few of my favorite makeup brands. So we have Dose of Colors, It Cosmetics, Anastasia Beverly Hills, The Balm, Makeup Geek, NYX. Milani is also a cruelty-free drugstore brand. Physicians Formula, who's cruelty-free. Also Australis, which I get my banana powder from. Savvy and Face of Australia, all of them are cruelty-free, as well as Models Prefer. Natasha Denona, Urban Decay, ColourPop, all cruelty-free. Too Faced is cruelty-free. Hourglass is cruelty-free. Smashbox is cruelty-free. Chi Chi's cruelty-free. Charlotte Tilbury's cruelty-free. NARS, Cover FX, Sugar Pill, Napoleon Perdis, Kat Von D, Marc Jacobs Beauty, ELF, Kevin Aquan. There are so many brands that are cruelty-free you guys would not believe. You would be overwhelmed with the choices you guys have of makeup if you do go cruelty-free. And I also wanted to mention one last thing, which I forgot to mention before, which is parent companies. So there's a lot of people, a lot of differing opinions on this, where some people will not use a brand if their parent company tests on animals, and some people will use that brand. I'm one of the people that will use that brand, and the reason I do that is because I hope, this is like my whole little mindset on this, and I had a comment on one of my videos which said this, and this is why I so strongly believe this, that if you keep buying from, say, Too Faced is owned by Estee Lauder, and if you keep buying from Too Faced and Estee Lauder sees that most of their money is going to Too Faced, and they put two and two together and realize that the brands that they own that are cruelty-free are getting the most money, hopefully they will follow suit, because they will realize that's where the most of the money is going, because they're cruelty-free. That's why I still use those brands, but I know there's a lot of people that won't use brands that their parent companies are cruelty-free because they don't want to give money to brands that are, they don't want to give money to the parent company, because essentially, I guess if you are buying products from Too Faced, some of that money will be going to Estee Lauder. I mean, there's a fine line. That's for you to determine yourself whether you want to use those brands or not. So that brings us to the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it was informative and helped you out in some way, shape, or form. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to let me know in the comments if there are some dupes you would like cruelty-free versions of. Like if there's a MAC product that you want a cruelty-free dupe of, please comment that down below and let me know if you do even want to see that video of cruelty-free dupes. And yeah, hopefully I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!